Hey YouTube, this is Daniel Postma. Welcome to another amazing day. So I want to talk about your money life and how to make money and why to make money because a lot of people think that they need it or that they desire or that they could choose it. And yeah, absolutely. It's always something that you can change. If you have the idea that you need it, then you can find a way to go out and get it. And you know whether you think you're in a survival situation where it's in need, or whether you think you would just like to have more of it, or whether it's just like, not even something that is not your forte or up your alley, and you think, I'm not really into money. It's not really my perspective that I need it. I kind of am taken care of and things are fine. Even that, I would say there's still things you could do to get, just comfortable with knowing that about yourself. If it's like, you know, knowing that you have everything that you desire already and that you're pretty much good with the way things are, then being satisfied with that, great for you. And probably not necessarily a conversation you need to have, but then there are other conversations around that I would like to talk about. And it's like, even if you're on this live, probably you've got an internet connection, a laptop, and some place from which you can view it, and things are going pretty good for at least a minute. And so that might be your situation. Where like, yeah, I'm okay, and things are flowing and growing, and my life is okay, and that's a good place to be. Um, and then there's just so many other conversations you can have, because when things are going for you, you can be in that generous space where you can look at, hey, what can I do? Like, who could I be that would be of service to others? And really, the money conversation is about being of service to others in a way, because the purpose of money is one of the things money creates is the facilitation of transactions between people. So you create something like a sale or an offer or a program that you have available to do something, maybe an art class, or you haul wood for someone, or you're in the sawmill industry, or um, anything of that nature where you have some kind of a skill available. And what ends up happening is that someone else requires what you can do, and they reach out for assistance, and you can provide it. And that money allows things to go well to a degree, because it's like, if you do something for someone for free, maybe they will appreciate it, but also there might be like this awkward thing of like they're in debt to you or owe you something. And money is just a clean, good way to make transactions happen where everyone feels satisfied with the way it went, and they have a chance to be generous, you have a chance to be generous, and then you can do things with that money whatever you want. um so it's like, I don't need to convince you about the value of money, because it's just like, it's something that most people are accustomed to having. And also, the value of money doesn't really exist. It's just in the transference of value. What is someone willing to do with it and pay for it and have it? And so many businesses are willing to take money for what it is they have to offer. And so it's a great way to get the foot in the door in terms of business. um, because you could create things and do things for free, or you could just do things for people that you think would be a good fit or whatever. And that's all good, part of your kindness and generosity, um and choice. But if you're willing to um have more money, if you're willing to operate with it, then you can grow your business in certain ways, and you can bless people and be a gift and be a wealth of contribution that you couldn't otherwise potentially be. It's not money that creates that, right? That's just your choice. But um it's one way of having people's back, is looking at how much money does this person need to make what they have going on work. And if you have someone in your life that you'd like to bless, then money is a great way to do that. So getting into, okay, how do we make money, now that we know a bit more about why and why not, and when it's not relevant, it actually does mainly come down to that. It's like, you're smart enough to know what money's for and what to do with that and all that. And it's like, have you considered about what not to do with money, or what you can't do with money? Because for example, happiness is a choice, joy is a choice, wealth is a choice. And that's not about what you have, it's about what you're having in terms of what you're willing to be. If you're willing to be happy, be joyful, and be wealthy as a perspective, as a point of view, as a choice, then when people come to you, you have a wealth of things to offer them, and that will create some stability in your situation of inward resources, that joy, that wealth, that resource of being. Just a bit of a different conversation and spin on things, um, because desperation is actually an energy, um, you know, and that boils down to poverty and a greedy mindset. And when you're coming from that place, people can smell it from a mile away. They'll call you salesy, schemy, and that's not your fault necessarily. It's just the way you were raised, or just you haven't been given a different perspective, or maybe that's not even the energy you're coming from. It could be a projection. They just think that about you because of what you're wearing or whatever. And so with that, you just got to be willing to be aware of what people are going to take from you, take away from their interactions with you, and the way you present yourself. Um, I know a lot of people think they've been through these intense hardships, and I'm sure they have. A lot of people have been through some hard things in life, but I know that you all have a level of skill and resilience and strength too, and inward resource and scrappiness and wealth of ingenuity and fine details that you can be accomplished with creating and doing in different areas. A lot of you are artists or painters or singers, and you don't value that necessarily, or you do secretly, but you don't let people know how good you think you are and you can be. And that's okay. Um, to truly succeed, it's just being a success to yourself first and foremost. And I want to just validate that that's real. That success that you have inside of you is real, no matter whether anyone approves of you or not. And that's good for you. And I want to just say, like, with the inward security about it, just being self-conscious and being aware of your skills, just to don't invalidate yourself because someone else tells you you're not good. A lot of people rose to the fame that they got to, the level of skill and mastery, because they had that inward confidence, and they knew that they could keep doing what they were doing and like themselves and keep going with it. And so if you're willing to be confident inwardly, you got a good shot at accomplishing whatever it is you're setting out to accomplish in life. And a lot of us just want to be healthy, happy, stable, and that's fine. um so you don't have to have delusions of grandeur to have wealth. And what is wealth to you, in your situation, whether that's a wealth of grounded relationships and your family and friends and your relationship partner, and your best friend, and your best girlfriend that you hang out with, or whatever, your mates that you go to movies with and chat up and go out to dinner with, all that good stuff. You just want to have great experiences in life, whether you're into farming and you love the earth and you're really down to earth, or whether it's with animals and you just want to have a great relationship with them too. How can money make all that easier? Because money is a grounded, real, practical thing. It's also just an energy at the end of the day. So are you. It's like, if you're in a good mood, people can feel it. Bad mood, people can feel it. you know your choice really does actualize in those areas. And also, if you have like a brain tumor or brain thing, some kind of inflammation in your brain, or some kind of limiting perspective about how you feel, and you've got some kind of chronic depression or anxiety, that can affect your mood, or affect the way that you can see your mood. And I just, brain clarity is totally possible for you. I know a lot of people who have gotten a lot more clarity over the years with changing their diet or their mood or their friendship circles. Um, and there's a lot of changes and choices that you have available. So if you're feeling like you're not very clear of mind about money or about your friends, and that things aren't working along that nature, I want you to know that that can change. And some of that might just be changing a couple of things in your social circle, or your food or diet, um, or even your energy, or just a perspective. And praying about it is always good, because you never know what God can do for you in your situation, and also just your request of the universe, and having that open point of view of, hey, maybe it can get better than this. and not being fixed in this hopeless situation. Because if you, as long as you've got hope, you feel, as long as you're asking a question, as long as you have that innocent mindset of, how can it be better than this, or what else is possible, or what's it going to take to change this, then you've got hope. And yeah, so be honest with yourself about what you can change, because if you lie to yourself and say that this is impossible, then you'll stop looking for different possibilities. And I'd say, like, you know, um be as honest with others as you feel safe with, because sometimes putting your whole heart out on someone, maybe you don't have the strength for that, and you don't know how they're gonna react or stab you in the back of it. I'm not saying that everyone will, of course not. And if you trust someone, by all means, like, beware of how they're gonna respond, and just be open about your situation, because sometimes your honesty is just the thing that will open up their heart and help them, and you have a better contribution. And at the end of the day, however I can be a contribution to you is why I'm on this YouTube live, and I'm just saying things that are, like, fundamental to me, that I'm knowing at this point, and learning and teaching myself, because there's so much that I found that's helped me be more grounded about my resources, and that includes my intelligence, my resourcefulness, my strength. And I'm so grateful for the capacity that I have to change different things, whether it's learning music, learning languages, doing massage therapy, different gifts and skills and capacities I have with bodies, just being able to be me and recognize that I'm a healing, nurturing energy in the world, that I can have those choices to do some of the things that I used to think were impossible. Just like even being happy is quite a thing. Knowing that I can change my diet, knowing that I can change my energy. And when you're comfortable with the value that you have for you and that you can provide for others, you don't have to struggle to get validation, because you can validate yourself. And it's not really required either. At a certain point, you're just like, okay, you know, maybe I don't know who I am today. Who am I today, and what grand and glorious adventure could I have? That's a question from Access Consciousness, which is a really cool program of tools, a set of tools, a way of living too. Um, Created by Gary Douglas and Dean here, that I drew a lot from. But I definitely am my own person, and I recommend you be your own person too, because no box of tools is going to create you. No one person, no one telling you what you can do is going to help. So embrace a curious mindset. And if you think that the most that you can offer is worth like $35 or something, you're limiting yourself. And I would say that $35 product that you have, or whatever, that could be a great start. And you probably aren't going to get everything that you're going to get in life from money. And so if you have the idea that everything that you want is going to come from money first and foremost, that's limiting. And if you have the idea that you also can't charge too much for something, that's also limiting. Um, and if you're willing to engage with the value of something, then you can create something different. For example, you might be an artist and you sell your artwork for $45. Someone else sell artwork for 10,000 or a million or 10 million because of the prestige that they've acquired, or the mystique. And I'm not saying go out and develop a prestige and mystique, because I know that's more of a fame, familiarity, popularity conversation. And if you're looking for that, look at Taylor Swift, look at how she created her fame. Um, Look at Alec Benjamin, look at John Legend. Just go find some people who have created that and look at, hey, how did they acquire the success? And what would that be like if you had that, if you were choosing that? And then also, it's like, it might seem impractical, but that's just a choice too, to be that good, so to speak. And then also, it's like, if you would like to look at, what is your best to work with? That's a question from Catherine Porritt regarding her 100K offers, luxury offers program. Beautiful program. She really speaks to the energy of wealth. And if you're at that level where you're like, hey, what would it take to create a lot of money? Look at that question. What is your best work worth to you? In this whole life, what is the best, what is the worst and the best of what you can be and do? Because if you look at that extreme, you know, even what you do, 5 minutes of labor might be worth $35 to someone, right? Even maybe way more, maybe immeasurable amounts because your presence and your time is one of a kind. Um, but if you look at what is it that you could do with your best work, look at some artists, look at some architects or surgeons. Sometimes a surgeon does a 35-minute surgery and gets paid $80,000 maybe, depending on what it is, because of the skill. And so, if you're willing to embrace the value of skills and hone down on that, and be honest with it, and go into a career or profession um, or a place of business where you can work at that level of perceived value, you can definitely make that much money. Um, And I get that not everyone is necessarily ready for that conversation. And so going back to like the $35 level or the $400 level or the $10,000 level, if you're looking at getting the $30,000 level, like per day, per month, per year, per week, per whatever, it's just like you want even just like $70 a week, or like you're just getting started in business and your dreams aren't that big yet, or even like you just know you don't need that much money, but you want to do something consistent and reliable to bring in income. um, look at what's fun and easy for you that maybe is not so easy for everyone else, but that's a gift to you. Maybe you do something really well, um, that you could charge for, and maybe you're just getting started, and that's great. But also, you know, I will assure you that if you have some interest in an area, some passion, some expertise, there's a lot of people who will pay you to not have to do it, to watch you do it, to see you create something different. And people really value that. And if people feel like they're helping you out, if you're willing to be grateful and generous at the same time, you can just make people's day and give people a great experience of you. Um, yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say on this topic. I talk about money every day because money is part of life, and I love engaging with the energy and the topic and the conversation. And I will talk to you more tomorrow. So I've got some new ideas already coming in, but I'm not going to give you a hint because I just want you to wait, because I know that this conversation opened up some things, whether you think it did or it didn't. I've got a feeling that this actually might be the greatest conversation I've had about money so far. So tune in, maybe listen to this a couple times and see what is it that you could do that has value that you didn't think did before today, before you realized your skill, your value, your participating in life creates something different than you imagined.